Yeah, Prophet Marcello Kearns back at it. Thank you guys for all your support. You know, the support is necessary, you know what I'm saying? Because as a prophet of God, you know, they try to box us out the system. As God's true people, we get boxed out the system. Meaning they try to stop our help. They try to stop people that's helping us and everything like that. And it's always a constant situation with that. Now that I'm not under the bridge, homeless in South Charlotte, you get a moment of clarity. You get epiphanies of how you were treated on the streets. You know what I'm saying? How you were treated in these situations. What needs to be understood is this, man. I don't know what would make these Americans think that I'm just gonna be played with like a child. I'm gonna tell you what happens first. I'm gonna tell you what happened. I'm gonna tell you what bridge you meet first. Someone goes to war, right? That's all that's gonna happen, bro. Y'all clowns. Y'all corny people as Americans. And ain't no way you can polish a turd. A turd is a turd. You can't polish a turd. Okay? Okay? And that's what you're trying to do. Somehow justify your position. Somehow make your position look real and cool to the people and cool to the streets. And it don't. It ain't no way it's going to look that way. That's all I'm saying. I know how these Americans think. When you realize the clown lameness of what you done, the clown lameness of what they done, listen, bro, you're trying to make it make sense and it don't, and it won't. You're trying to make it make sense. And it's not. It's not gonna make sense. So, like a man, let me explain something for some of these homosexuals. Maybe you won't know. Okay? Just because in my past you heard things about my sexuality, let me help you understand something. I never had the psychology that lacked manhood or understanding that men have about most issues. Okay? Some of y'all that's adults, that's men, you never developed, that's gay, you never developed adult manhood mentality. Okay? And at this point, the only thing I'm thinking is somebody is going to perish. Somebody is going to suffer. And it's not going to get no better. And that's how a real man is going to think in this situation. And it doesn't matter if it's you, and it doesn't matter if it's me. Somebody's going to die. Okay? And if you a clown, you think I'm playing, and you think I'm bluffing. If you a clown with no mentality of a grown man, from all that you've done as a community, as Americans, if you a clown, you're going to think I'm playing with you. Okay? You a goofy clown, you're going to think I'm playing, and I'm not playing with you. Between me and you, as a community, somebody got to go. And it don't matter who it is, whether it's me or you, somebody got to go. And that's where it's at, okay? It's not going to change. It's not up for negotiation. Because I know you're too broke as a community to get my money, so I'm not even talking about that. So the only thing left on the table is a body bag. I try to put it on the table as a money bag or a body bag. I didn't care which one. I don't personally care which one it is. It could be a money bag or a body bag. I don't care which one. But now I know that you ain't really gonna get no money because you broke. It's because you broke, right? Let's keep it 100. It ain't because you don't want to get it. It's because you broke. Listen, that means body bag, bro. Because if you think you're getting away with this as Americans for playing in my face the way you did, listen, you got me sized up wrong. It's even Christians who are arrogant in their Christianity, who think they can play with me. Let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something, as for you Christians that are American Christians. trying to size me up and discern, and what you call discern, you got to remember, while you discerning, you not God. While you discerning and trying to read people, you are not God. And if you play around with the wrong spiritual person, you can be all the Christian you want to be. You could be born again, praying in the Holy Ghost, everything in between, right? God is still going to chastise you for playing the game, playing games. When you cross over the line of discernment and you start playing with people and playing games, I'm going to tell you something, bro. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen to you. You're going to get in trouble with God, playing with me. Then you're going to get in trouble. I don't care who you are as a Christian. I don't care who you are as an American. Right? I don't care about that. I go by rules and regulations. We all have to go by rules and regulations. Rules and regulations. You already listen, and that's why you know you don't want to face rules and regulations as Americans, period. Americans in general. You don't want to suffer the consequences of violating rules and regulations. And that's where it's at. It's nowhere else. That's why they're trying to manipulate. And if you stupid, as Americans, you sitting up entertaining them trying to manipulate a situation where it ain't nowhere else to go but violations from rules and regulations, and that's it. Ain't nowhere else to go. Where else is it to go? Ain't nowhere else. You see what I'm saying? And so it ain't nowhere else to go. These people violated my rights. They violated my everything I need, how I live my life and everything, and they played with me. Because they think, listen, they did it for the culture, they did it for the community, they did it for the Instagram, for the gram, right? But then you have to pay. And now you see God comes into play in this situation. Well, now y'all got to pay for trying to flex for the gram. Okay? Yeah, that's basically what it is. And stupid white people don't know no better. And old black people don't know no better. All these people trying to flex for the gram. That's all they trying to do. And if you don't understand that dynamic and that perspective, you're going to try to make sense of something that don't make no sense other than they trying to flex for the gram. They think they bad. They think they tough. That's all it is. Now, we can sit here and play games like it's something else, but that's what it is. And so that's why there's a spiritual war between the righteous Africans and the wicked Africans. And listen, and if you white and you sympathize, you're a black sympathist, you know what I'm talking about. You sympathize with black people and you think you're going to come out here against me, listen, you're going to get your feelings hurt. Because, you don't get to choose what you want to do to a prophet of God. You don't get to choose and play with me. You've been acting like you could kill me for way too long and you never could. I was on the streets for 3 months and y'all did nothing. Okay, is that me talking loud and bad and ain't out here in these streets? No, that's a whole different animal. I was just left the streets. I was out there 3 months and I know you knew where I was at and where I was sleeping, and you knew where I was at and late at night when I was out in the streets. Charlotte, you knew where I was at. I wasn't hiding from you. So I know you don't think I'm hiding now. I was on the streets for 3 months. Why you ain't do nothing? If you wanted smoke, why you ain't do nothing? Oh, because it ain't y'all style. That ain't how y'all do it. Well, how you do it in the real world we live in, where you don't do nothing to somebody? What you call that when you don't do nothing and you don't say nothing to nobody straight to their face? What you call that in the real world we live in? Make that make sense in the real world we live in. I was on the streets for 3 months. Ask Charlotte why they didn't do nothing. Ask Charlotte why they ain't pull up. Oh, that half pull up where they was riding by in cars. You call that pull up? No. It's not vehicularly, if you will, pulling up. You don't pull up in a vehicle. You get out the vehicle to pull up. No pun intended. You didn't get out the vehicle to pull up, did you? You didn't get out the vehicle to pull up, did you? Come on, man, stop playing, bro. What I want to remind y'all of is nobody had the balls to say something to me to my face. Nobody had the manhood to say something to my face, bruh. Ever. You'll see these politics and think they said something to me. I'm running from people and they done said something to me. Not to my face. Not like I'm having a dialogue with you. Ain't nobody never said nothing to me to my face like that. Whether it was Charlotte, California, New York City, no Brooklyn, nobody. Now you see why I carry myself the way I do, because nobody ain't say nothing to me. Nobody. Go ask around. Ain't nobody say nothing to me. That's you probably don't know that. Nobody said nothing to my face. How would you feel? How would you feel? You feel like they haphazardly pulling up, acting like they pulling up. They going to the community acting like they pulling up. You see what I'm saying? But they ain't doing nothing. But they ain't never said nothing to this person to his face. Not like I'm having a conversation with you. You can come into a room and say something, but you know they can't see who it was and really know who it was who said it. Come on, man. That's halfway pull up. That's what I call it. It's half pulling up. Now, if you was built as Americans like me, I come and say it to your face. I come and tell you what I think to your face. See what I'm saying? That's the difference, bro. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking, man. If you think you a man like that, besides being a street person like that, see, I pride myself, unlike you, I pride myself more on being a man than a street nigga. See how you got your priorities out of whack. That's why everything's out of whack. You know why? Because you pride yourself on being a street nigga before a real man. That ain't in your value system. You want to be a real nigga instead of a real man. I'm a real man. Without working, without having a job, I'm still a real man. You see what I'm saying? Listen, just because I ain't on this American plantation working, don't mean I'm not a man. Now, you can't tell them that. You can't tell nobody that. They gonna think ain't no way you can be a man, ain't no way you can be a man without working. That's how some people feel. But that's okay. That's okay. What you're gonna be faced with, ultimately though, if you violate me, is manhood. That's what's gonna prove it. When you violate me and you play with me, listen, I'm gonna show up with manhood. And that's all we talking about. So the next level in this situation is manhood. We're going to see what people made up. Because, see, long as we talk those street politics and ebonics, right, they going to manipulate with all kind of little stuff they learned on the internet. What we going to do is talk manhood. Where you shouldn't have came out here as Mexicans talking about somebody's a sex predator or something like that. But you couldn't prove it. A real man ain't going to put that on nobody. A real man, a real woman ain't going to do that. If you didn't see them and you ain't got no receipts, that's what make you a clown. As far as the Mexicans that play with me, you a clown. I challenged you in front of in a bar on South Boulevard. Tell the truth. Tell everybody the truth. I challenged 5 or 6 Mexicans and told them they wasn't a man. I told them they wasn't a man. Nobody did nothing. I talked directly to a crowd of people, and whoever wanted it could have said something. Nobody ain't say nothing. Oh, what they want to play it like I'm crazy, like you gonna ignore me, like I'm. Come on, man. Listen, what man you know gonna take it that far where he let you call him, say you ain't no man? If you can't say it to my face, they couldn't say it to my face. They saying it in the room. I stood up in the middle of a Mexican bar on South Boulevard, Moranza, whatever that little dumb bar name. Morazin. Everybody know what I'm talking about? Yeah, go ask about me. Go ask about me. I say what I need to say, bro. See, this is not, to me, this is not carnality. This is not being, in my Christianity, I do believe, man, you supposed to say stuff as a man. I do believe that. It comes a point where you say stuff as a man. You don't go around because you're supposed to be humble and you're supposed to suffer persecution even at times. It's still a balance where you're a man and you speak as a man and you and it's a time to speak and it's a time to say what you need to say as a man. Listen, my point is, I said what I need to say to the Mexicans. Other person, I told them, I said, remember, man, I know where you at. You don't know where I'm at. You at work, talking out of turn, right? I know exactly where you work at. How you gonna play in the streets and I know where you work, but you don't know where I'm gonna go? And I'm in the streets anywhere I can be. And I still know where you work at. Listen, man, let me tell you something. That's how we know you ain't no street people. Why you gonna pull? If you work at a business, if you work at a restaurant, and you're part of street politics, right? A person can come back and do anything to you. I can come back at any time. I still could come back and do anything to them people over there. And then what you gonna say? What you gonna say? You can't doubt nobody like that, buddy. I could come back anytime and do anything to them people. They're sitting duck at a job. Well, I know where they work. They don't know where I went. You see what I'm talking about? So moving forward, man, for all these little merchants and these little dumb secret society people that's at these little stores and grocery stores and all this kind of stuff, let me tell you something, man. People know where you work at, and you don't even know who these people are. You don't know when they gonna snap and come back to where you work at, bro. That's why you gonna see, if the Lord tarries, all these people being gang stalked, people gonna start lashing out and doing something to these people. Watch, you'll see. Because they know, we know where they work at, we know where they be at, right? How you gonna play with somebody and they know where you work at? I'm just showing you street wisdom, street discretion, wisdom, right? And how to move out here. Instead of thinking, and I hope you're not thinking this, I'm trying to be a thug, or I'm showing you how to move in the jungle. You can't come out here playing with people and they know where you work at. Think about that. You would tell a Christian that. You would tell anybody that. How you gonna play in these politics where you gang stalking and playing with this person? He knows where you work. I told him, I said, listen, man, I know where you at. You don't know where I'm at. That's the last thing I said in American Deli on South Boulevard in Charlotte. I know where you work at. You don't know where I work. You don't know where I'm at. Where I'm at right now. You don't know exactly, do you? And I know exactly where you at. See, only certain soldiers is gonna be thinking like that, man. In the street mentality, people like that. I'm thinking in terms of enemies, real enemies. And it's not always, as some American Christians might think, it's not always cut and dry where you supposed to love. Sometimes you're supposed to go to war, bro. I mean, and I'm stressing that more than anything else, man. These times when people play games with you and they gang stalking you, you don't supposed to sit back and take that. See, that's religious, traditional Christianity. We're going to war by spiritual means. That's what we're doing. So I became the person you love to hate as Americans. That's what it happened. I became the person, and somehow you think I got goofy written on my face. You think I got sucker or mutt written on my face. Something about you think I'm somebody to play with, and you a clown for that, right? Man, your whole country's in shambles, man. You just put sanctions on Russia, which means you finna lose Russia as an alliance. You finna lose Russia. You finna see them start probably going back and doing spy work and all of that. Man, listen, let me tell you something about me, bro, that you might not know. I'm willing to live and die in this position. You a clown playing haphazard games. I'm willing to die in this position. That's what make you a lame. And listen, for all you old white people that think you ain't lames, you listen, it don't matter how old you get. You still a lame. You a lame. You an old white lame. Oh, people get old and they think they're OGs. These old white people think these white people, these white women and white men riding around like they OGs. Why? Because you old? So what? Hear from a black man. I don't care how old you get. I don't care how much money you made over the years. I don't care how many cars you drove over the years. You are a lame playing with me. And that's that. I don't care how much money you got or whatever. I can show you. Listen, ask these women. It's a many men around here with money and they lame. That's why you listening to me. I ain't got no money. That's how you know I'm real. Well, why you entertaining me and I ain't got no money? Something must be here. Something must be going on here. Now imagine if I had money. Imagine if I had bread. You see what I'm saying? That's how you know I'm real, bro. Listen, man, they got money and they still getting considered lames. They got money and they still considered lames. These people out here working and got money and still considered lames out here. Yeah, come on, man. Come on, come on. That's what I'm saying. Money and material things, you would think people would know, that don't make you real. It's all about your mentality and your rules and regulations. If you got them, you got them. You don't, you don't. See, on this level of being real, as a grown man, not a teenager, not a reckless teenager, as a grown man that's real, that's competent, that's sophisticated in his mindset, what makes me consider somebody real is rules and regulations. That's it. Rules and regulations, that's it. I ain't going by nothing what you can do with a gun and a little bit of money and all of that. No, I ain't going by that. I'm going by rules and regulations, something that only real people know. You got to live it for a long time to think like this. And I'm telling you something, if y'all go by money or a lack of money with me, you American community people, if you go thinking about money like I ain't got it and you can play with me, you're going to play yourself. I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen. You're going to play yourself. You're going to play yourself big time. Okay, what I'm trying to get you to understand, and I just wanted to freestyle this message because I just wanted to speak from the heart. Sometimes with all this gang stalker stuff, you just need to, go through politics with a fine-tooth comb and just let people know what it is, bro. Just let people know what it is, and every once in a while I do that. I just make a message for these gang stalkers and everything like that, and that's what this is. Let me explain something, bro. Let me explain something. Jesus Christ was not no millionaire. Jesus Christ didn't have 5,000 cattle. Jesus Christ, the Messiah, did not have $1 billion. He did not have a physical $1 million, a physical $1 billion. So then you have to understand, as a competent man or woman, there are lanes that have no money. And you know who expresses that the best? Jesus Christ, the Messiah. Jesus Christ didn't have no $1 million. The most powerful human being, the God man, the most powerful human being, God in the flesh, with no money, no $1 million, no $1 billion. Ponder that right there. Because see, that's what the devil gonna make you do, is respect lanes that's not spiritual. To respect lane, even Christians will only respect lanes where they see material things. And then you wind up playing with me. Remember, Jesus Christ did not have $1 million. Malcolm X didn't have $1 million, did he? Did Malcolm X have $1 million? Did MLK have $1 million? No, they did not. Were they millionaires? No, they were not. And they still the highest ranking in your community. See, you still haven't caught up to manhood, where you realize that there are lanes that are above material things, and we all esteem them as highest rank. That's Malcolm X, MLK, Jesus Christ the Messiah, above all humanity. Remember that, man. Remember that, bro. More times, ain't you wearing a cross? Ain't half of y'all getting a cross in ice and diamonds? You got a cross iced out, don't you? Yeah, that part. Why you still think about God? Huh? If y'all rule and y'all above everything, why you even waste money buying a cross iced out? Because you realize Jesus Christ is the highest ranking when you don't even represent yourself. You know what you're doing? You walk around with a cross on, don't you? Half of y'all walking with what that tells you. No, I want you to think about this. There's lanes above material things where you're taking material things pointing to spiritual lanes. You're taking the cross and pointing it to a spiritual lane. You could be wearing anything. You could be wearing all kind of crazy little gold on your neck and all kind of little other stuff. Why you take the time to wear a cross? Because you realize that's the highest ranking lanes. That's why. Why you walking around getting crosses and tattoos? You could be getting anything. Why you getting cross tattoos? Why you getting crosses? You know what I'm saying? Why you talking about Jesus? I'm gonna tell you why. Because you realize that's the highest rank. And listen, that's what you done forgot, playing around with God's kingdom. See, you try to dissect God's kingdom from Jesus Christ. You can't do it, bro. You can't do it. Which means many of you, you ain't got no respect for Christians. But I'm gonna show you higher psychology. The reason why you don't really like Christians, because they doing better than you morally. They doing better than you. They ain't saying nothing to you. You despise somebody doing better than you spiritually. You despise somebody that's a little cleaner than you. You despise somebody that ain't out here in these streets, and that's what you see. That's the higher psychology why you hate them. Oh yeah, that's what it is. You hate them because they doing a little bit better spiritually. You tell me what it is. If they, most of them ain't even bothering you. So tell me what it is. At face value, this is higher psychology. You listen, you despise them because they doing better than you spiritually, morally. They ain't out here getting on a million drugs. They ain't out here having all sex with these women and everything. And you despise them a little bit because they doing better than you a little bit. Well, a lot. But then you were talking about you acknowledge Jesus Christ. When you gonna grow up and realize Jesus Christ got a people? When you gonna grow up and realize that you are not God's people? You are God's creation. This is how I've always explained it, and I was saying it before any of these other preachers were saying it. I didn't get it from none of these preachers. You are God's creation. You're not God's children, and that's a big difference. You're God's children, God's creation. You're not God's children. God's children are in obedience to God. Okay? And many of you are bold enough to play with God's people. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Listen, I can show you people that got a battery in their back, and I'm going to get that battery right out your back, because what I'm going to make you a believer in, listen, as you respect Jesus Christ. See, this is the problem that Jesus Christ had. As you honor the Father, Jesus Christ said, I will be honored like the Father. This is what Jesus said. They thought he blasphemed. The way you respect God, you gonna respect his people as well. And I'm gonna make you a believer in that. I'm gonna be one of the first Christians. Don't get me wrong. Jesus Christ is above everybody, and God is above everybody. We're not Jesus Christ, but when it comes to his people, you and your mama and them think y'all God's people. Let me tell you something. God's people cannot be played with, and I'm gonna make you a believer in that. Something in you think me and you the same, right? Where you think me and you both serve God. No, you don't. You ain't do. Listen, you do everything you want to do. I done stopped smoking weed. I done stopped having sex with these women. I done stopped doing anything I want to do on a consistent basis. You ain't paying no prices for Jesus. How you talking about you a Christian? Just like the streets is gonna say, what prices you paid, what work you put in. I'm asking you the same thing. What's the difference? You ain't put in no work for God. You ain't stopped doing the stuff you want to do. You ain't stopped doing all these pills and doing all these drugs. You doing the same things. So if you was a child of God, listen, let me tell you something. If you was a child of God, you would be obeying your parent. You know who your parent's supposed to be? The Father. If you was, listen, obedience proves who your Father is. If you was a Christian, you will be obedient. And when you're disobedient, you would get back up. They ain't never get back up. Let me tell you something. Bro. Where you think you can play with me is you think you God's people too. You ain't God's people, bro. I'm gonna tell you like you need to know. We ain't gonna let people talk about they Christians and they ain't paying no price. They get to do everything. They get to do the drugs. They in the hotel rooms doing drugs right now on a Saturday afternoon. Everything, getting high, drinking and everything, excessively, doing everything they want to do. Right? Excessively. Having sex with multiple people and everything, and then you got the luxury of saying you're a Christian like me. Come on, imagine, put yourself in my shoes. You paying dues according to the Bible. These other people over here can do whatever they want to do, live how they want to live, and they got the luxury of saying they Christians and they children of God. Come on, man. You would chastise the streets if it's a fake dude on the streets. You gonna say you ain't never done nothing, you ain't never put no work. So how you expect Christians not to say the same thing? I'm gonna call it just like the streets do. You ain't put in no work, you ain't done nothing on these streets, you ain't active as a Christian. That's it. I can show you where I'm paying prices. I can show you why I'm consistently paying right now. I enjoyed everything I was doing. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I enjoyed smoking. I enjoyed promiscuous sexuality. I enjoyed those things. But you don't see me running to get myself together to go do those things like that. You know what I mean? I pay prices. I pay prices. And I ain't letting I'm one of these Christians. I'm not letting nobody sit up there like we all God's family and you ain't paying no prices. No. We're not all God's family. We're all God's creation. Okay? So let's review. The only way you are a child of God is if you are living righteous. Jesus Christ said, if you love me, keep my commandments. That's what Jesus said himself. If you love me, keep my commandments. That's what Jesus said, not me. So see, nobody wants to keep it real, all the way real, when it comes to serving God, man. That's what I'm talking about. Because nobody want to have the discipline to live that way. Nobody want to practice discipline. And you got Christians that's really living this, man. Perfect, no, but they living it, right? Imagine you trying to say me and you brothers and sisters, but you ain't paying no dues, you ain't paying no prices. You ain't living this life. You ain't living like I'm living. I don't tolerate it. I don't tolerate it at all. Just no differently than when you wouldn't tolerate somebody on the street saying they thugging and they ain't never done no felonies, they ain't never done no crimes. You ain't gonna tolerate that. So what's the difference? Oh, your relationship with God is a little more personal. Well, obviously it's not personal. You don't have a personal relationship with God. You're cliche when it comes to God. And now it's gonna become commercial where people can talk about they with God in reference to God, but listen, you ain't living it. I'm telling you nothing differently than your own culture would tell you about street people. If they see somebody that claim to be a street person, a thug or a gangster, the first thing they're gonna look at is what crimes you done and everything you done, felonies and crimes, the crimes particularly. Okay, so what's the difference when I'm coming to you as a man of God and I'm telling you, man, ain't none of these people done, they ain't putting in no work. All they doing is wearing crosses, all they doing is getting tats and referencing to God, but they ain't never put in no work, they ain't never stopped doing all the stuff they doing. Okay, so then they got the luxury of just saying they Christian. They feel like they Christian. That's why they feel like they can play with you, because they feel like you the same thing. If they knew they was different, if they knew they was different from you, then they would understand, they would take more caution. But if I think I'm the same thing as you, I'm gonna get comfortable. Does that make sense? I'm gonna get comfortable with the preacher because I think I got a relationship with God. I'm gonna get comfortable with the prophet but you don't. And somewhere along the way in your culture, you convinced yourself by making your own religion. You can make up your own religion. A religion is when you decide to do it any other way besides God's way. That's a religion. You can make a religion today. And many of you in America have made a religion where you think you got the luxury of saying you're a Christian. You God's people, you God's children. That's cliche almost in this country. But you ain't never ever gave up everything for God. Ever in your life. Where you stopped everything. So how in the world you supposed to be a Christian? And then we know you looking at every little thing I do, but why you ain't looking at every little thing you do? You see what I mean? I know you watching everything I do. What about you? You still a Christian, but you can do whatever you want to do. Man, come on, bro. Come on. See, that's what I'm talking about. And that's collectively as a community. Oh, they can do whatever they want to do. They feel like they still God's people. You not. God says he's not a respecter of persons. The Bible says God is not a respecter of persons. Let's tell the culture to start. It's good that, people acknowledge Jesus Christ, but let's start quoting the scriptures. Where God says, suffer not a witch to live. God don't even want, that's the standard of God. I didn't make it up. God says, suffer not a witch to even live. What you want me to do? Oh, say you're spiritual and then it ain't your fault that you're spiritual. Oh, that's what you want me to say? It ain't your fault that you got a spiritual gift. Listen, man, I'm gonna tell you something. With
all the mysteries that's in the world and things that me and you both could not possibly understand in this lifetime. I suggest you to realize if you don't do it God's way, it's sin. If you don't do it God's way, it's satanic. And that's it. That's it, bro. I don't try to figure out these. The thing that makes people go wrong is trying to figure out God. You can't figure out God. That's what makes them God. You can't. You listen. Some of y'all can't even do one math problem or algebra. You don't even understand algebra. How you gonna understand God? You don't understand geometry. How you gonna understand God, man? Come on, stop playing. That's a 7 out. You listen. Come on. Half of y'all can't even write an essay. You couldn't even write a professional essay. How you understand God? Think about it, man. None of us understand rocket scientists. You wouldn't even know what to do. You understand rocket science? How you understand God then? I ain't getting on nobody. I'm just clearing the air. I'm just putting everything in proper perspective. I regulate. This is called, I spiritually regulate. I put everything back in proper perspective. Because there's people out there that would think, oh, we with God too. No, you're not, buddy. I had a woman in New York tell me that. She walked up to me saying something crazy out of pocket, right? Like something I ain't even do. It was so bizarre. All I could say was, man, I'm with God. That's how bizarre it is what she accused me of. I never seen this woman one day in my life, bro. I never seen her one day in my life. She accused me of something that was so bizarre. All I could say in response to it, which shows you where my heart was, I ain't respond like a street person. I said, man, listen, man, I'm with God. She talking about me too. And that proves it. There's a certain type of people, man, they can come play in your face and talk crazy and reckless and think they still with God. They bugged out, bro. They deceived. Jesus said when the day of judgment comes, many will say, Lord, we did works in your name. Jesus gonna say, I never knew you. That's what Jesus gonna say. I never knew you. I never even knew you. Because you can't cut corners with God. You can't bamboozle God. You can bamboozle us. You know how Bob Marley say, you can fool the people half the time, but you can't fool the people all the time. I piggyback off of that, man. Listen, you can bamboozle us your whole life. Let's just say you are successful with creating this image of this, that, and the third as men and women. But you can't bamboozle God. You can act like you're God's people. You can act like you got it together spiritually. But you can't bamboozle God, bro. It's a sad situation. You could fool us all your life. These 5%ers and all these other people, these black Hebrews and all these other people, these conservative religious Christians that's on the side with Trump and with the politics. Knowing this country is Sodom and Gomorrah where you can't even vote in this country. You can bamboozle us and act like you're God's people, but you can't bamboozle God. Okay? People started religions in this church, young people too, where they think they God's people. You God's people. Really. You know what I'm going to go by? I'm going to go by obedience. I'm going to go by what you do and you don't do on a consistent basis. And I'm going to keep that in proper perspective. I'm going to use proper understanding with that, even with that being said. But if we see nothing, then you just living a regular, totally regular life. Bro, men and women, you playing yourself. You ain't playing me. You ain't playing no prophet. Because see, soon as they mention me being a prophet, soon as they mention me being credible spiritually, you going to pull up like we God's people too. That's what happened to you. And listen, you got comfortable with playing with God's people because you really despise them culturally, collectively. You collectively despise us because we're more cleaner than you. I really believe that. You despise the person that's doing a little better. You despise the person that stopped all the drugs. You despise the person that stopped promiscuous sex and homosexual sex and lesbian sex. You start to despise God's people. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. See, you don't understand psychology, higher psychology. I do. I know if I'm doing a little bit better than this community, you gonna already be judgmental, right? You're gonna be a little more sensitive to everything I do when you're not sensitive to what they do out here in this community. You got some American Christians that's with the streets, praying for the streets, fasting for the streets. But when it comes to us as true God people, the same Christians are judgmental, way more judgmental than when they judge the streets. How they judge the streets. You ain't never met nobody like that? Oh yeah, they'll preach. They'll talk about Kanye West, no disrespect. They'll talk about rappers, Jay-Z, Beyonce. They praying for them. But when it come to you, they ain't trying to help you. They ain't got no love for you. They ain't got no patience for you. But they praying for the lost. You got them type of American Christians. They all about the lost. But when it comes to people that really love God, that might be struggling a little bit, they listen. They ain't got no expertise in helping them type of people, do they? No, they don't. No, they don't. See, I speak to God's people because that's the level I'm on. And if you was mature, that should be the level you on. You should be sympathizing with falling, making mistakes, not being a hypocrite. Because the Bible says a just man falls 7 times. He gonna fall. That's what the Bible says. It don't say a hypocrite falls 7 times. It says a just man falls 7 times. Okay, so then that's the Bible. That's not a hypocrite. That's the Bible. That's not a hypocrite. But when you're judged already, prejudged already, because they halfway despise you, they don't understand high psychology because you're doing a little bit better. You're living a little bit better, right? You get despised. Every little thing you do get watched. Every little thing you say get watched. Because you're here, because they already despise you because you're doing a little bit better than them. I'm telling you, that's what it is. I understand higher psychology. They already despise you from day one when you say you're a Christian because you're doing better than they are. That's what it is. Okay, that's what it is. You tell me how you can just bring yourself to hate. If you ain't simple-minded, okay, you know there's some hypocrites in everything. I can show you hypocrites in the streets. I can show you hypocrites as thugs, gangsters, and black people, and white people, and Hispanic, and Latinos, and everything. I can show you hypocrites everywhere. So what's the difference? Take away the religious titles. Take away understanding spirituality and what it consists of, and what the rules and regulations are. Let's just look at humanity. I can show you humanity hypocritical in whether they black, white, whatever color they are, Hispanic, Latino. I can show you hypocrites in every race of people. Besides religiosity, besides spirituality, the element of hypocrisy is everywhere, right or wrong. Okay, so then if you was a proper judge, you would say, well, there's hypocrites everywhere, including your family, including people you done dated, all that, man. You done dated hypocrites. Well, people say one thing and do another. You done dated people like that. Come on, acting like they faithful to you, but then what? Wind up talking about other people. Wind up sending you pictures of other people, all kind of stuff. Man, look, man. The person that grows spiritually and matures as a man or a woman, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna consider yourself every time you looking at judging somebody else. You're gonna consider also your humanity around you when you judge another person. Now, if you simple, right, you're not gonna consider everything. You're not gonna consider yourself. Even when you've contradicted yourself, I'm pretty sure you have. If you live long enough, you will admit that you've contradicted yourself in some form or fashion. It might not be the same area, but you contradicted yourself in some form or fashion. Everybody do that. That's called being human. That's called being in the real world, being human. You don't consider yourself and you don't consider your surroundings, where all these people contradict themselves. So then why if you was a high discretional judge, you would realize everybody's a hypocrite. All these people are hypocrites. All these people are unclean. saying one thing and doing another. But because you despise somebody that's trying to do the right thing, you're going to be more sensitive to them. You're going to be more sensitive to what they doing. I'm telling you, that's what it is. And now you see that you've been simple-minded. Well, I mean, you know, you ain't looking at all these hypocrites around you. You ain't looking at all these people that contradict themselves around us. What about them? Nothing? You don't think about, that's a simple-minded person, bro. You thought it was me, but it's you. I like to say it when it fit. That's a 7 hour. Listen, you thought it was me, it's you that's simple. I look at all these people around me that, you see what I'm saying? And they hypocritical on everything. You name it, they hypocritical on it. Oh, we ain't realized that yet? They hypocritical on everything, bro. They hypocritical on everything. That's all I'm saying. So you're going to consider that when you judge people. Now, if you're a simp, you're going to sit up and point to a Christian and say, well, I don't believe in them because they man. And they gonna make mistakes and they don't fail, and you know, and we don't trust them, and da da da. Okay, what's the difference in the world? What's the difference? Oh, they be doing stuff to children. Oh, okay, America's marrying children. That's what the prophet gonna tell you. Oh, the Americans are marrying children at this point. So you can't say the religious people or even the Catholics, which I'm not a Catholic. I don't practice Catholicism, not even in 1%. Okay, so you got to understand the difference between Christians and Catholicism, right? Christianity and Catholicism is not one and the same. Catholicism is a Jesus Christ religion, just like Jehovah Witness is a Jehovah religion. It's not the right. Christianity is not a religion. It's spirituality. We got put into the box of religion. We're not religion. I'm not a religious person. When God made Adam and Eve, was there a religion? Was there a church? Was there a mosque when God made Adam and Eve? No, there was no church. There was no mosque. There wasn't even a Bible. There wasn't no Quran. There was only God, Adam, and Eve. There was no religion. As you would think. There was no Bible. There was no Quran. There was no mosque. There was no church sanctuaries. In other words, all the things that you consider the practices of religious people when it came to God's true people, right? There was none of that going on in the beginning. And they existed without a church to go to. They existed without a Bible to read. Adam and Eve wasn't reading the Bible. So what was they doing? They wasn't going to church. So you like to think, okay, when they sinned, that happened like 5 days after. That happened 5 days after they were created. They might have lived years without sinning. Did you think about that? When before Adam and Eve ate the fruit or whatever, what was the time when they was created to the time they did that? Nobody knows really, do we? That's something you could look up though. I looked that up. What was the time between the time that Adam and Eve was created to the time when they sinned? That could have been years. The point is, days and days went by, and they was not reading the Bible. They was not going to no church service, and they wasn't working. God didn't make Adam and Eve work. They didn't, because God provided everything. Think about God in his abundance. He created man, right? We're so used to working or having talents and gifts, we can't see being created and not working and not having something to do, right? God made Adam and Eve and he provided everything. When you understand the abundance of God, this is how you can get it, right? Why would God make them and then they have to go work for something? They got to go work for it. He made them, he created them, but he didn't give them everything they needed like the animals, right? He gave the animals everything they need. Why wouldn't he give you as a human everything you need? He did give us everything we needed. Adam and Eve didn't even have to work. No, they didn't. But when he sinned, and I'm paraphrasing, then God said, now you're going to sweat on your brow from work, from labor. But it wasn't until he sinned that he actually had to work. And that's why many of you don't like working. You know why? Because it wasn't the plan of God from the very beginning. And you could talk to me about talents, you could talk to me about gifts, and I'm still gonna tell you it was not God's plan, obviously, for Adam and Eve to work until they sinned. So then you understand purpose. Divine purpose. Divine purpose was that we was made for communion with God. We was made for God's pleasure. We was made to have communion with God and be connected to God. That was it. Adam and Eve wasn't working at 7-Eleven. Adam and Eve didn't say, well, we got to go get a job down at 7-Eleven. Because when you're a real servant of God, you understand God provided everything. Why would they need to work? Working is merely foundationally for you to provide for yourself, right? Why would you need to do that in the beginning? Why would God make you in this great perfect plan and then you got to go provide for yourself? Think about that. When you understand the abundance of God and the greatness of God, it makes perfect sense. Why would he make you and then give a void right here? Well, you got to work and try to figure it out over there, as far as material things. God provided everything and we sinned, and then because we did it our way, God made us do it all our way. He made us do everything our own way. That's what happened. I did a whole teaching on this, getting back to the garden in terms of referencing to the Garden of Eden. The first plan that God had, we wasn't even working. We had no religion. We had just divine connection with God. There wasn't even a Bible. There was no sanctuary. There was no church. There was no mosque. There was no work. Everything that you think life is about, most of it wasn't even here. Which is reading some of the Bible, or going to church, or working. None of that was even going on. And if they had not sinned, it wouldn't have been going on. When they sinned, everything changed. And that's what your preachers are not putting the emphasis. These American preachers ain't putting the proper emphasis on. Everything changed after we sinned. The whole plan, how the world moved and everything we were supposed to do in the world, all of that changed. See what I'm saying, right? And that's how you're supposed to preach as a Christian. Everything changed. Ain't none of this the same since we sinned. Okay, so now we got to see what God's original plan was. God's original plan was we didn't even have to work. You can't even fathom that just from the slave culture of America. It's still here. You can't even fathom that God will make us and we ain't have to work. But if you understand God, if you're a real servant of God, right, then it makes sense to you because you have come into understanding the abundance of God. You understand the abundance of God. So why would he just make us and then we got to figure it out over here? We got to figure it out over there. He put us above the animals. You don't think he gonna have a better plan when he provide for animals, but he don't provide for you? Come on, that's 7 out. See, what happened is we was put above the animals. God provides for the animals, right? Why wouldn't provide for higher ranking creatures than the animals? Why wouldn't he provide for higher ranking creatures than the animals, right? Why wouldn't he? Because we sinned. That's why it didn't happen for us. Once we sinned, God was not sarcastic. God was technical. Okay, you want to do things your way? Have it your way. All the way. All the way. Not where I still provide for you, but you do what you want to do in these areas. And see, that's how we know. Full circle revolution to my point. That if you was a person of God, listen, you wouldn't be doing, as a American community, you wouldn't be doing things all your way and then talking about you got a relationship with God. You ain't no different than Adam and Eve. Done went and did what you want to do, and then you talking about you with God, and then you think you with God. Or you think you can play God or get away with it. And still have your cake and eat it too. You can't, man. So now listen, man, as God's true people, you should be regulating on people, man. Just like they try to regulate on street people. Oh, you try to come out here and say you a gangster and you ain't never done no crimes. You won't hear the last of it. I don't care where you go, you won't hear the last of it. Go out here and say you a gangster or a thug and you ain't never done no felonies. You won't hear the last of it, bro. So then I'm the same way on God's side, man. If you ain't active, if you ain't fasting, if you ain't seeking the Lord, if you ain't worshiping God, if you ain't spending time with God, and foundationally, if you are not abstaining from the world and the sin, Where's the work you putting in? What have you done for God? How are you connected to God? See, what you got to understand is God is only going to dwell. This is the technicality you got to understand. God is holy. Something that's not even in the terminology of other people in America. God is righteous and holy. He cannot dwell in uncleanliness. That's why we got to get ourselves together. We got to get back up. And you will make mistakes if you live long enough as a Christian. I'm telling you. It might not be the same area as my mistakes, but you will make mistakes because you're human, right? And it's some type of mistake that you make, right? Being a human. But you live a clean, overall your life is a clean life. You got to know that for yourself, because these people will try to take it from you out here. You know you're living a clean life, right? Okay, then that's what it is. Ain't nothing else going on. You living a clean life. You don't let nobody take that from you. You paying dues and you let people act like you a sinner. You paying dues and you let people act like you ain't a man of God. You paying dues. Why these people having sex with everybody and doing everything they want to do on a Saturday afternoon like this? They doing everything they want to do. Okay? See, we suffering for Jesus. You know, one of the fruit of the Spirit that these American Christians don't talk about? This is the one they don't talk about. Long suffering. Oh, they'll talk about love. Well, you don't got no fruit of the Spirit. What about love? I'm going to ask you, well, where's the fruit of the Spirit of long suffering? Suffering for a long time. Not doing what you want to do. That's the proof that you are of God. You got the fruit of long suffering. You suffer for a long time. Glory to God. When you start suffering for a long time, you are now bearing evidence. Glory to God. You are bearing evidence that you are of God. You are of his people. But if you see these American people that say they Christians, these famous people, but you ain't suffering, you ain't got no long suffering going on, when you ain't doing everything you want to do, when you ain't doing everything you want to do, you see that's part of Christianity, not just love. It's also not doing what I want to do. Because when we preach love only, then people just do what they want to do. Even Christians. If you just preach love, 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 and not long suffering, see what I'm saying? One of the fruit of the Spirit, the most underrated fruit of the Spirit in American culture is long suffering, because nobody don't want to do it. That means you got to suffer for a long time. Who want to do that? Who want to sign up for that? But when you love God, it ain't no other way. You're going to produce the fruit of long suffering. The only fruit they're gonna tell you about in America is love. That's the one. That's what they're insinuating. If they say you ain't got no fruit, if they say you should know them by their fruit. You know what they're insinuating? That because you have abstained from the community, because you ain't playing no games with these Americans, you ain't walking in love. You ain't bearing fruit of the Spirit. But then you can look over here in my life and you can see long suffering. Okay, what about that fruit? What about long suffering? When you see me on the streets while people was playing in my face and I was still a righteous man walking with God. Right. What about that fruit? When these gay dudes was trying to come on to me and I resisted in San Francisco, California. Oh, they'll tell you about it. Dude Carlos on Market Street, the little short dude on you know what I'm saying? On Market Street. What about him? When he came on to me and I resisted. That's the fruit of long suffering to do the right thing. See, I didn't toot my own horn and tell everybody about that. Had that dude try to touch me in San Francisco, and I had to move back. But then you still talking about somebody's gay, right? But I can show you, and that person knows how I resisted them when they try to come on to me. See. I'm gonna tell you something you won't realize, man. Let me tell you something you won't realize. That was my last interaction, actually, when somebody tried to come on with me, actually. You follow me? That was my last interaction with somebody trying to come on to me, actually. You understand? Listen, how can you come out here like a teenager talking about somebody is a homosexual, but he resisting homosexuals? You ain't know about that, did you? You ain't know about it. How could you know about it? You're not living my life. That's why I listen, this is why as a grown man or woman, we all admit our human limitations. You know what my human limitation is? I don't know what you do 24/7. I don't know who you are I don't know who you. I know me. I don't assume to know anybody fully through and through. I don't assume to know anybody like they my child. Like, you know, like I know you, everything about you. You even got children you don't know. I got a child I don't even know. My son 19, I don't know nothing. Listen, because of my divorce with my wife, I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you many things about my son right now. We don't even, in these last days, man, we halfway know our family. How you gonna know somebody? You halfway know your family, but you know me. Why won't you get to know your family first? Why don't you get to know your family? You know me, but you don't know your family. Come on, make it make sense, man. Make it make sense. That's 7 out. Get to know your family first. See, if you was a master, that's how we know you're ignorant. Or you would have came to all these epiphanies I just talked about. You would have said, yeah, I thought about that. I thought about that too. I thought about this. I thought about that. If you was truly an intellectual master, you would have come to terms with everything I'm already talking about. What I'm talking about, you would have came to terms with it already before I said it. Knowing darn well you don't know nobody out here but yourself. You don't know nothing. You don't know every single thing about nobody. See, that's the clown in you. That you sit around and act like you know me, like I'm some cartoon or something. Man, you listen, let me tell you something, buddy. You don't even know your family, let alone knowing me. And we ain't gonna save you from being a clown. Ain't no salvation, so to speak. Ain't no salvation for no clown. You came out here acting like you know people, and you played yourself. We ain't giving you no salvation for that particular lane. We ain't giving you no salvation for that kind of practice, for that malpractice of like you know grown men and women. How you know us? Now you looking like the clown. Now you're trying to save face, and it ain't gonna work. I'm too quick on my toes for it to work. For you Americans to come out here acting like you know me and don't know nothing about me, don't know me from a can of paint, and then you're still cool to the people. You still appeal to the overall global community. Nah, you played yourself, little suckers. You played yourself. You played yourself. That's what happened. Okay? You played yourself, and now you're trying to make it make sense, and it ain't no. We gonna stop you right there as Americans. We ain't letting it we ain't letting you try to work it out and make it make sense. You came out here playing with a good person, and you played yourself. You couldn't prove what you was talking about in the narrative that you was portraying it to the community. You couldn't prove everything in the narrative that you was portraying to the community. You couldn't prove it in the narrative that you projected to the community about me and others. Listen, man. Right there, that's where we want you to stay. You ain't gotta go no further, buddy. You ain't gotta go no further. We want you to stay right there where you tried to prove things and you played yourself, and ain't nobody seeing things the way you saw it. Nobody ain't see me the way you wanted them to see me, and you played yourself. We want you to stay right there. That's it. That's it. Ain't nothing else to talk about. You ain't gotta do nothing else. We gonna do everything from here on. That's how we move, man. Listen, man, if I didn't say this, then what would my situation be? Waiting for you to understand this, waiting for these Americans to understand this? Well, that's what it would be. I'm leaving it up. I'm leaving my life and how I'm perceived in my situation left up to the Americans and how they see my situation. I'm waiting for them to come to the same epiphanies that I've come to. And who knows when that's gonna happen? Who knows when they gonna come to the same epiphanies that I've come to? But so you see what I'm saying? I gotta go ahead of everybody, say it for what it is, sum it up, and end this situation and cash out, so to speak. I gotta cash out. You know what I'm saying? People played in my face. It's over. It's already over. I can't wait for you as Americans to realize it's over. It's over now. It's over now. And only clowns think it's still going on. Ask a grown man when America marrying children, is they still got something going on. Ask grown men and women that when we realize that they had child marriage laws without parental consent. Oh, go check that out. Because that's the Jedi mind trick of the Americans. Oh, wasn't it? Didn't we? Well, it was child marriage with parental consent. No, it wasn't always like that. So then, if that's your history, you got to consider your own history, don't you? Listen, no pun intended. They try to make us consider our history, didn't they? Well, won't you consider your history while you out here with your bird chest out in the streets? While you got your bird chest out in the streets, why don't you consider your own history where y'all as Americans were marrying children without parental consent? Listen, I can't tell you. I understand my human limitations. I can't tell you how they pulled children out of other parents' hands, but it happened. Okay, so we're not going to be simple and say, well, how did that happen? Well, how did that happen? I don't know how it happened. I don't know how grown men and women got other people's children and married them without parental consent, and now they with the other. I don't know how it happened. All I know is it did happen, and that's all I care about. See, you hung up on what, when, how, and where. What, when, how, and where, that's where you're stuck. I'm not stuck on that. I'm stuck with reality. The reality that, however it happened, y'all was marrying children as Americans without parental consent. They didn't even have to have parental consent. They was somehow with the children. They took them away. They had to. I can't tell you how it happened because I didn't live in that culture, right? But the bottom line is that's your history as Americans, and that's what we talk about. That's all I'm talking about. See, that's where we need to be right there. That's your history, right? How you gonna come out here? See, this is how a black man's logic is. I taught you already. You have black man logic and you have white American logic and American logic. A black man's logic is this. Being from all the times we've been judged for raping white women and doing stuff to children, white children, over the years, let's not forget about this. Let's ponder how many times black people been accused of raping these white women. But oh yeah, think about it. You ain't even really got to think about it. You already know it happened, don't you? I'm pretty sure you do. Living here in America, you know they done accused a black man of raping a white woman. He ain't even do it. And she said the perpetrator was a black man, and then you find out later it wasn't. You found out later it really was a white guy, but she wanted America to think it was a black man that did it. See, when you understand the culture we come from, where we've been accused of stuff we didn't even do, we put more of an emphasis on you having to pull up with receipts. You got to pull up with receipts on black people. And if you was really smart, you would realize that. You can't come accusing black people, and they've been accused of stuff all their whole existence here in America. First thing they're going to do because of that, because of a culture of being accused for things we ain't do in the context that it was said, and not the fullness of the truth of what is being projected, we want you to prove it. We want you to break it down. We want you to break it down in the full details and narratives that you were told. That's it. That's all we want you to do. And if you can't do that, then you're going to have a liability with black people. Now, I don't know about what white people do, but black people's logic is this. This is black people's logic. How you going to be out here marrying children talking about pedophiles? How you going to have a whole history? This is black people logic. I don't know what white people logic is. Obviously, it's something else. I can't even speak for Hispanic or Latino logic. My logic as a black man, based on our experience here in America, how in the world you gonna accuse a person of pedophilia or even have this term used in your little pathetic community? And then you've been marrying children the whole time. I don't even think you had the right to even call people pedophiles in the country where y'all been marrying children the whole time. Do y'all agree with that? They got the right to call people pedophiles and they've been marrying children in America the whole time. Come on, man, make it make sense. That's 7 hours. So you got the luxury. No, this is a question. This is a real question. You got the luxury as Americans of marrying children and then talking about pedophiles. That's a yes or no question. You feel, you see what I'm talking about, right? You feel as an American, you can accuse a man or a woman of pedophilia. This is black logic. I don't know how white people think, because logic is based on how you was raised, your culture, and your experience in a particular community. That's going to produce and sharpen your logic. My logic is, how in the world are you going to call somebody a pedophile? But you've been marrying children the whole time, even without parental consent at one point. That's your history, whether you like it or not, as white Americans and Americans. How in the world are you going to come out here playing with a black man and he don't form that type of logic? Think about it. You marrying children, for crying out loud. Well, it's not all of us. That's the stupidest answer you could ever. How it's going to be everybody? That's the dumb. I never use that in my vocabulary. Well, it's not all of us. Well, how is it ever going to be everybody? In any situation, whatever you're talking about, how is it going to be everyone? Ever? How's it going to be everybody? So you're saying something that's never going to happen anyway. See, you're just talking to a smart person, a bright person. You can't talk that foolishness, that cliche American foolishness to me. You marry children and you came out here talking about pedophiles, and now you look like an idiot. Now you look like idiots when you realize you've been having sex with these children, the same details that a pedophile has with a child, interacting sexually with a child. You've been doing that with child marriage. When you be on their head too, of course. But you look at it like I'm judging them. Oh, after they play with me, you don't think I'm gonna be on their head? See, you a simple-minded person. How you size my situation up? Oh, I'm saying something about it. I'm a judge. Because I'm a Christian, I'm a judgmental person when I'm saying it. That ain't even the context of that. Me being a Christian, that's why I'm saying it and I'm judging you. Nah, I'm saying this because you came out here playing with me, and I can't believe that you marrying children. That's the foundation. The very thing, back to hypocrites, the very thing that you was talking about, that other people, you would think other people doing, we found out you was doing it without parental consent. You was marrying children, marrying them now. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell you one thought I never had, is to marry a child. I ain't never thought about marrying no child, but you have as Americans. You've thought about marrying children. You've done it without parental consent. The parents didn't even have to consent. But you want to talk to me when you got that history. You want to talk to me about a pedophile. You out your mind. You gotta be. Ain't no way in the world you finna come out here playing with me. And you marrying children? Let me tell you one thought I never had. I ain't never thought about sitting back thinking about marrying a child. Having a child in my life, married to a child. But you have. Now imagine with my black logic, my black man logic, imagine you come out here talking to me about anything. Even if I did do it, you did it too. Oh, yeah, you had sex with children too. Even if we did do it, you did it too. Oh, you talking about animals? Oh, you had sex with animals in Hawaii, West Virginia, and Wyoming. Oh, go check the history of America having sex with animals by law. The law was no law. Attorneys know that is a law. A law is no law because it gives permission as a law when there is no law, right? To do something, right? Okay. Y'all was even having sex with animals. Listen, anything you could talk about that you said I done or I was doing, man, I could show you how you was doing it. Anything you talking about. Now, how would you feel if you knew all this information? Like, they can't stand up on you. They got to have several seats. They got to sit down somewhere. That's it. That's all. And otherwise, you a clown or a cartoon playing with me. So then what? What's supposed to happen? I'm going to tell you what's supposed to happen. Because you might say, well, what does it all mean? You ever dated a woman that talked like that? The refined women of America. What does it all mean? You ain't never dated a woman that talk like that. What does it all mean? I'm gonna tell you what it all means. You supposed, as American, you supposed to get my bag. You supposed to get my money. If you've been marrying children this whole time, You came out here playing with me and you ain't even had no receipts. And then we found out how deep your pedophilia culture was and is, right? Passing new laws to marry children July 1st, 2019, while Trump was in his first term, right? We found out that y'all passed new laws to marry children. How you gonna talk about a pedophile? How black people gonna talk about it? Why y'all didn't protest? Why black people didn't protest? No, we gonna talk about you because you was playing with me, so we gonna come to you. Why black people, why you ain't protest about child marriage laws passed 7 years ago, just 7 years ago, last month made just 7 years ago? July 1st, 2019, why you ain't come out here and protest? Huh? Why you ain't protest? Y'all love the kids so much, why you ain't protest about the child marriage? I can't make this up, bro. They love the children so much. Well, why you ain't say nothing about the new child marriage laws passed? Make it make sense for us. Can you tell me? You can't make it up. You can't make this up, bro. You passed new child marriage laws and said virtually nothing, while simultaneously you was gang stalking the prophet simultaneously. Oh, 2019, I'm pretty sure you was gang stalking me and those helping me, those people with me, everybody with me. Oh, you was gang stalking me and my people. July 1st, let's review the history. I'm pretty sure you was. July 1st, 2019, you wasn't gang stalking me. So let's review. While you was gang stalking me in 2019, your country was making laws to marry children. Let's ponder that. Let's ponder that right there. Let's ponder that right there. While they was gang stalking me, bro, they was married. They made laws to marry children right in the same atmosphere. You see what God sees? You see what God is looking at? While you was playing with my prophet, here you are making laws to marry children. At the same time you was playing with my prophet. Everybody know they was playing with me by 2019. So, let's put it together. While they was gang stalking me, now you see why I am the way. Now you see why I got a battery in my bag, right? While you was married, while you was playing with me and playing. See, if you ain't been through this, you ain't gonna be like me. You ain't gonna be like me. Why would you? So you gotta understand my passion and my zeal in this situation. These people played in my face, and then simultaneously, they was marrying children. Simultaneously, they made laws to marry children. Simultaneously, they was thinking about engaging children sexually as a community, making laws to do it while they playing with the prophet simultaneously. That's all I'm saying. That ain't a problem to you. And then the community, the black community, all out here with their kids on their hips, like you protecting the children from me or something. And then you ain't protest about child marriage laws in your country. You ain't say nothing about it. Oh, let's ask the black community. Why y'all ain't say nothing? Why Black Lives Matter? Black Lives Matter was out on July 1st, 2019. Why Black Lives Matter didn't say nothing about child marriage laws in America? Why the new Black Panthers didn't say nothing about child marriage laws? Why all these militias, Boogaloo and all these other militias, why y'all didn't say nothing about child marriage laws? Why all these Hispanic and Latinos didn't say nothing about child marriage laws? Huh? The prophet is the only one. Y'all wasn't protesting. Y'all wasn't saying nothing. But you out here loving children. Well, why you ain't say nothing then? That's my thing. Why you didn't say nothing then? What would you say in my situation? This is a question. What would you say to me? You see these people acting like they love children so much. What would you say to me when they pass new child marriage laws to marry children in July 1st, 2019? What would you say to me about that? Nothing else, no other random saying of anything, right? No other random saying of anything. What would you say about that? They pass laws to marry children. Playing with me, no black people protest. Jay-Z didn't protest. Beyonce didn't protest. And any of these other rappers that you want to name, any of these other Wu-Tang didn't say nothing. Wu-Tang said something about the new child marriage laws. Wu-Tang ever said something about marrying children in America? No, they did not. So you can talk about Wu-Tang is for the kids, but they ain't say nothing about the child marriage. That's 7 out. Why they ain't say nothing about it? Because they ain't in the lane of the prophet. That's the bottom line. The bottom line, they ain't in the lane of the prophet. It's all, man, listen, we can't take it but so far when you say you for the kids, but you ain't say nothing about the child marriage laws. That's real. That's real. Why you ain't say nothing? Huh? Come on, man, stop playing, bro. The truth is, man, listen, you played yourself as American community. Come out here talking about these children, then we find out y'all marrying children. Stop playing, man. That's pathetic. You know what it is? It's pathetic. For you to come out here, I don't care if it's the police. I don't care. I could talk to any of them. See, if you think I'm like one of these average, everyday blow Joe black dudes, and when I'm ducking and scared of the police, man, listen, I can look at the police right in their face. I can look them right in their face, and they ain't said nothing about no child marriage laws in this country. Ain't nobody scared of no police. Ain't nobody scared of the military. I ain't scared of you. I ain't scared of the feds. I ain't scared of CIA. I ain't scared of none of you. Ain't none of y'all saying nothing. Well, the FBI didn't say nothing about the child marriage, did it? The FBI, did the FBI say something about child marriage laws in America? So they didn't. That's a yes or no question. That's not a trick question. Did the FBI say something about child marriage laws in America? Did the CIA, next question, did the CIA say something about child marriage laws in America? Oh, they go look up prostitution rings and all kind of other stuff. Oh, the feds do, FBI do. Well, why they ain't say nothing about marrying children in America? Military, did you say something about child marriage? Man, stop playing, bro. Stop playing, man. Don't you see the writing on the wall? The prophet outranks all these people. Black Lives Matter, you got all that time on your hand. Black Lives Matter with all that time on your hand. Black Lives Matter, you got all that time on your hands. Black Lives Matter, you got all that time on your hand. Why you ain't say nothing about child marriage laws? Why didn't you say something about July 1st, 2019, when they married children? They passed laws to marry children. July 1st, 2019. Why you ain't say nothing? Can you tell us why you ain't say nothing? You can't, can you? You see how spooky it is? You see how it's like the prophet is in the twilight zone? You talking about pedophiles, but y'all ain't say nothing about child marriage laws. The Black Lives Matter didn't say nothing. Jay-Z didn't say nothing. Beyonce didn't say nothing. Did she say something? Did she use her platform to talk about it? No, she did not. While all these black people reverence her. See, this is perfect for how it is in the last days. All these people you reverence ain't really talking about these real issues in the lane that I'm in. They ain't in none of the lane I'm in. You can't be serious. You can't be serious. Beyonce have never even insinuated nothing to the effect of child marriage laws in America. Neither did Jay-Z. That's what I'm trying. I don't have no problem with telling you this. It's facts. And a grown man and woman gonna accept these facts. What else? What you gonna do with it? What else you gonna do with it? What else you gonna do with it? You ain't say nothing. So what you gonna do? You gonna get mad about it? Like I like to say, who you mad at, me or yourself? You mad at me or yourself? Well, listen, you could have said something about it. You could have had credibility about this. Talking about this, you didn't, did you? That's what we talking about, bro. That's what we talking about. Stop playing with a real man of God. Stop playing with a prophet that's the only one said something. Denzel Washington, did he say something? Denzel didn't say nothing, did he? You see what I'm talking about, though, right? You see what I'm talking about? LeBron James, did he say something about the child marriage laws? LeBron James, Queen Latifah, did she say something about child marriage laws? She ain't say nothing, did she? That's what I'm talking about. Rakim, the rapper Rakim, did he say something about y'all marrying children? KRS-One, you know he always like to spit some kind of information. Did KRS-One say something about child marriage laws? Dr. Dre, Eminem say something? He's supposed to be the go to rap. Did he say something? You see how spooky it is. You just pick. You pick whoever you want. I'm giving you real information. Ain't no smoke and mirrors. You show me where somebody talked about child marriage laws. Show me where somebody did. I challenge you to show me. Nobody said nothing. And my thing is this. If that's how it is, then don't say nothing at all. Don't talk about these children when you marrying children. That's all I'm asking. That's the liability. You talking about it, but then you ain't about it. You got to talk about it and be about it. Why you ain't say nothing? as Americans. Come on, stop playing, bro. That's all I'm saying, bro. See, I break this down very simple, bro. Ain't no room to say you don't understand me. That's foolishness. I break it down too simplistic for you not to understand me. Like I've heard people say, you're just dedicated to not understanding me. That's all it is. You're looking for some contradiction probably right now. Right now, you probably listen for some type of contradiction. That's all. You ain't listening with the right ears. You're just waiting for a contradiction. Who listens to somebody waiting for a contradiction? You know what I mean? Instead of listening to this important information. So all I'm saying, man, listen, I outrank all of you, whether you like it or not. Whether you accept it or not, I definitely outrank you as Americans. Man, come on, man, listen. You living in the fantasy world. If you talking about pedophiles and insinuating all this stuff with these children, but y'all marrying children as a community and y'all didn't say nothing, virtually nothing about it. You gotta be in a fantasy world. You got to be. Police can't say nothing to me. Feds can't say nothing to me. The CIA can't say nothing to me. They can't say nothing to me. They can't say nothing. All I ask for is my money. That's all I ask for, man. And that's the American way. Ain't no American you know. And this, I'll leave you with this. Ain't no American you know, whether it be Christian or non-Christian, that's gonna let you play in their face and y'all marrying children. We find out it's a whole culture there and we ain't even know. We ain't know this because we didn't know what slave owners was doing. Let's keep it real. This shows us how much of a slave we really was. Remind you, they ain't even want us to read, let alone know information. Okay, if they ain't want you to read as a slave owner community, don't you think they didn't want you to know information? That was the whole point of you not reading. The whole point was for you not to know information from the very beginning. Do you think he stopped that? Do you think he stopped that culture of you not knowing stuff? Obviously not. Your whole culture is still, now you see, I revealed how much of a slave community we really are. Well, we didn't even know we was marrying children. Oh, these white folks knew. But us as black people, we ain't know nothing about that. No, we didn't. Not as a collective community. No, we didn't. Some people might have knew. But it don't speak volumes if the culture didn't know. The culture didn't know. How we know? Because you wouldn't have came out here. You wouldn't have came out here playing with the prophet because you would have said right down, as soon as you would have said, we marrying children. We're marrying children. How we going to stand up on somebody? We can't stand up on nobody. That's how I know the culture didn't know, and that's all I'm talking about. The collective culture of America did not know, and if you did know, you wouldn't have came out here. You wouldn't have came out here on no profit. You played yourself. Now you found out what America doing. Now imagine me talking about anything else. When you owe me money, that's right. That's right. You held me to a double standard. That's why. Yeah, you don't see. You listen. The truth is, I'm gonna tell you what it is. You're stuck on the old fantasy America that we thought we knew, the one that you thought was real. Now, when we come to the real world, you owe me money. You owe me money. That's right. That's right. You owe me money. You came out here playing with my integrity and you marrying children? And you telling all these people all this stuff, like, and you can't even prove what you're talking about? But you marrying children, we do know that as a community. Listen, all we need is laws to cover the land and it's over with. If we got laws to cover this land, that covers all the perimeters of North Carolina. Every nook and cranny, every part of this land is covered with these laws, which creates a whole foundational culture of pedophilia in North Carolina. They got laws to marry children right here, buddy. Which means I don't need everybody to do it. All I needed was a culture of laws that do it. Listen to that, man. You see what I'm talking about? That's 7 hours. All I needed was laws in your country for you doing the same thing to cover the perimeters, to cover the soil of America. That's all I need, buddy. See, you're simple. You see how simple you are? Now you see it my way, don't you? Where now we got these laws that cover these perimeters. That's all we need. We're going to sit you down in a culture that marries children. We're going to sit you down where perimeters are covered with laws to marry children, little buddies. That's what we talking about. I ain't using no trickery. Am I deceiving anybody? I'm keeping it 100. I'm saying it exactly for how it is. When it's laws, how can I deceive you? You had laws to marry children without parental consent. You've been having sex with children. That's the bottom line. Listen, how can I deceive you? How am I deceiving you? There's no deception in that. It is what it is. All I'm saying is you can't come out on no profit and think you ain't got no liabilities. You picked me out of a community when you was doing the same thing as a community by law, and you don't think you owe me money when y'all doing the same thing in your community? By law, right? That's a bag. First thing person gonna say, whatever it is, well, the whole community is engaged in this culture. This country has a law to do these things. They have a culture of laws. If that makes sense, to do these things. How you gonna sing? So what? So why are you singling me out? And that's money right there in America, right there, buddy. That's money, and you know it. And that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I just want my bag. That's all. That's all I want. I just want my money. And if I don't get it, I'm going to continue. Listen, if you try to play with me like I ain't a grown man, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put pressure on your whole community until I get my bag. That's what's going to happen. Okay? Listen, everybody know I'm credible spiritually already. Let's understand that. I'm pretty sure you know that. So listen, man, come on, stop playing with me. I need my money. And if you are emotional and you've been playing basketball and you think this is football while you playing basketball, listen, man, listen. You're going to play yourself again. Listen, God is a master above all masters of making you realize, making you live a reality where you totally played yourself. Oh, he can make it worse, in other words. Where you look worse playing yourself. If you didn't think it could get any worse, oh, it can. God can make it worse, buddy. Oh, yeah. He can make it worse. He can make it way worse. And you can barely handle what you're going through right now. Listen, bro. All I want is for you to understand, bro. Get off of me as seeing me as somebody you can play with, somebody you love to hate, like I'm a little mutt that you playing with. Come on, man, you a clown in your thinking, man. I proved to make you look like a clown. I proved to make you look like a clown. Marrying children, bro? Really? I never had those thoughts. You a clown, bro. Let me tell you something, man. All I want is my money, that's it. And if you act like I'm a young man, like I'm so young, I don't deserve no money. I'm 45. I'm older than Malcolm X. No, I want you to ponder that. I'm older than Malcolm X. I'm older than MLK. I'm older than them. You bow down to them, you still do. I'm older than Malcolm X. I'm older than MLK. So I'm supposed to be talking like this, and just in case you think I'm talking out of turn, man, let me tell the whole black community, I'm older than Malcolm X. I'm older than MLK. Stop looking at me like I'm 25. I ain't 25 years old. I'm a grown man over here. Listen, I'm older than Malcolm X. Let that sink in. I am older than Malcolm X. You think Malcolm X ain't gonna want no bag and you play it in his face and then he find out you marrying children? You can't be serious. You can't be serious. You can't be serious talking about me by no children and you marrying children. You can't be serious to a black man and the black man's logic. No, you can't be. And listen, like I said, buddy, if I was guilty of it, you doing it too. Which means you can't even do nothing. Well, no. That don't put me in liability land. Well, how I'm liable and you doing the same thing? Make it make sense, bro. You doing the same thing, how I'm liable? I'm on one every day, bro. I'm on one every day until I get my bag. You heard? I'm on one every day till I get my bag. And if you as an American have been through this, you will be the same exact precise way. You might even have a lawyer by now. You'll be further along by now in the legal process. You probably have a lawyer already. You probably been consulted a lawyer already, man. Listen, the charges is extreme national defamation of character. That's the charges. Extreme, national, defamation of character. You played yourself, buddy. I got the real charges. Oh, defamation of character. Oh, that's serious. People that got plenty of bread off of defamation of character, especially these famous people. Oh, they gonna tell you. These famous people, they first in line to pull up on the bag about the defamation of character. Absolutely. Absolutely. All I'm saying is this, man. I just want my money. That's all I'm talking about. All this other talking, all this other yapping, all this in between ghetto ratchet stuff that the people talking about, all this random stuff that ain't got nothing to do with really the real issues that you came out here for. Listen, man, that's all for the birds. Everything they talking about is for the birds at this point. Because you know and I know and we know. They owe me a bag and that's it. That's all we talking about. That's all we talking about. We ain't talking about nothing else here. We ain't talking about nothing else here. We talking about my money. We talking about a bag. And ain't nothing. And listen, ain't nothing gonna change. Ain't nothing. Listen, what you think I'm gonna change? What? Because I'm a Christian. You think I ain't gonna get this money? You tripping? I'm on it. I can't speak for the next man. They played with me in 4 different states, major states: North Carolina, Florida, New York, and LA, and California. Listen, bro, that's a bag, bro, all day long, bro. You'll be saying the same thing. 4 states. They played with you in 4 states. These Americans played a game with you in 4 states. I want a bag. And I'm going to be saying that to the end of the world. I'm going to say it to the last day of the world. I want my money. You got me? I want my money. That's right. I know when I won. Listen, how you think I ain't know I won and I'm talking about a bag? Yeah. But I ain't on no cartoon time. I ain't on cartoon time. Listen, cartoon time is, oh, I won. Grown man time is, I want a bag. I ain't trying to hear nothing else about being no leader, being no person for the no. See, you trying to make it benefit for y'all. I ain't trying to make it benefit for none of these Americans. A grown man gonna say, listen, man, I don't care if it benefit America, what happens or it don't. You ain't gonna benefit. How you gonna benefit? You done did me wrong. How you gonna benefit? You done this. You give up. That's not the solution either. Give up, or me being your leader, or all this other stuff. Nah. We ain't trying to hear none of that. We don't care nothing about no psychological games either. I already won. Why I care about a psychological game? We don't care. Before you even start. Today, let me tell you something. I'm telling you to your face, listen, I don't care about no psychological foolishness. I want my money. You understand me? I want my money, buddy. And listen, ain't nothing else gonna change in my mentality. So if you think you're gonna play on my Christianity, well, he'll come around, he'll forgive. I forgive and I still want my money. I can have love in my heart. No, I'm a grown man, a real competent grown man. I still want my money. Insult my intelligence. Like I can't forgive and still get my money. I can forgive and I still want my money. I can walk in love. I can love everybody and I still want my money. I can love everybody and I still want my money, man. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, it has become an issue of money, and if you address it like, oh, here we go again, where something's about money, well, hey, listen. Money is survival, and money is time, and time is money, and you know what I'm talking about. And I wasted too much time playing with these people. So then what you think I'm going to think about? Catching up as far as money. I need it. I got to have it, right? Listen, bro, ain't no man I know in his right mind ain't gonna vouch for that bag. And you ain't got nothing you could take me to jail for. You ain't got nothing you could take me to prison for. You ain't got no warrants on me. And we know you was out here. You can try to play us like we crazy. Everybody know you was out. Everybody, it's too many people that knew you was really out here. Everybody know that. So you can't even play it like, oh, we don't know if he crazy. Nah, you listen. They done came to you and played with you and told you all kind of stuff and everything. You already know already know they've been doing this. So here's the conclusion. I want my money. You got me? That's what my head is. You want to know where my head is at today? My money, my bag. Every time I see something I lack, I want my money. And you can think it's a game if you want to. Remember, go ask the people that know I'm credible spiritually. What's been happening? Go ask them what's been happening. Not the show what's happening. I couldn't resist that one. Not the show what's happening. We're rerun. We ain't talking about rerun. We ain't talking about rerun, buddy. We ain't talking about what's happening in terms of rerun. You know what we talking about, buddy? Go ask them what happened as far as these spiritual manifestations. Not rerun. You want to ask about rerun, don't you? Well, where's he at today? Where's rerun today? Where's rerun today? Where is rerun today? You want to know what rerun is today? Where rerun is today? Well, listen. You might as well be stuck on rerun. They so goofy, they might as well be stuck on rerun where rerun is today. You might as well be talking about what's happening in the cast of what's happening and where rerun is today. I'm talking about what's happening with these spiritual manifestations that you can't afford to play with. Ask what's happening about that. Ask what's happening about these spiritual manifestations. These things you can't explain that happens in every city that I go to, in every neighborhood and community that I go to. Things you can't explain. And listen, that's what you need to be worried about. You know what you need to be worried about? These spiritual manifestations through Christ Jesus. See, you didn't know. See, listen, you didn't know we could do it like this, did you? You didn't know God's kingdom could do it like this. Just admit it. You know it's God. That's why I ain't worried about it. Listen, man, I don't play with God. That's one thing I don't do. I do not play with the Lord. You know this is God, don't you? You know it is. You know God is manifesting spiritual results in this situation. Why wouldn't he? Look at all these people. Look what they doing. Look at all the stuff they doing to people. Why wouldn't God manifest something against these people? That's all you got to do is come back to spiritual common sense. Spiritual common sense. Why wouldn't God do nothing to these people? Oh, we supposed to just forgive and nothing happens. Nah, buddy, nah, listen. The Bible says this: whatsoever a man sows, that shall he reap. I can't stop it. Nobody can stop it. What a man sows, that shall he reap. If you sow gang stalking and witchcraft and all this stuff against God's people, what you think gonna happen to you? As a collective community, you come out here playing as a collective American community. What you think gonna happen to you collectively? Stop playing, man. You got what you deserved as Americans. Stop playing with me. Acting like something strange is happening. Acting like somebody got some strange operation against you. You came out here playing in our face and everybody know it. You came out here playing with us and everybody and their mama know about that. Then you want to come out here and act like the prophet is being unreasonable, like I'm being unreasonable, asking about my money. I'm smart enough to ask for my money. I don't know what everybody else is talking about. I know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about my bag. That's what I'm talking about. That's all that matters to a grown man. What else matters? I don't care about getting even. I don't care about, listen, it ain't, listen, them being dead don't mean nothing. These people being dead, what that's gonna do for me? Think about that. I'd rather have money. All these people being dead, what that's gonna do? I'ma still be in my same situation, and we know that y'all been playing with my time and everything, and time is money, right? Everybody know in my situation, I couldn't even probably halfway work. They gonna be coming up at the work site, gang stalking me at the work site. Why they wouldn't? Anybody that understand gang stalker know they would have been coming up to the work site and everything, bringing their children up there, bringing old people and disabled people, trying to play psychological games. I already knew they was gonna do that, and God knew they was gonna do that. So that time missed when we know you was gonna do that, right? It ain't because I'm weak. It's God. God didn't want me to be subject to it. Because that time was missed. You owe me money on that, man. Listen, man. Listen, bro. I'm talking all how grown men talk. You can't act like I'm an anime guy. Oh, wait, he like anime. He's a gamer. When the last time I had a game consistently, a video game consistently? So why would you think I was a gamer? Why would you think I like anime? Why would you think I'm like one of these cartoon type of nerd dudes? You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking grown man language. I need my money. That's what we talking about. Jay-Z didn't say nothing about child marriage. How you gonna insinuate all this 444 with Jay-Z? Jay-Z ain't say nothing, man. See, you think God's people can't outrank these people. We already did. Already outranked Jay-Z. Jay-Z got money. A white man got money. Jay-Z ain't touching on these real issues in the community. That's all I'm saying. He ain't touching on these real issues. It's me. Ain't nobody else doing it. I'm the one doing it. You think I ain't gonna point that out? I'm the only one. Would you point it out? You would point it out. You'll point out Jay-Z and none of these other people ain't saying nothing. Of course you're gonna point that out. But you want to see it differently when the prophet say it. Come on, man, stop playing, bro. Stop playing. You insult my intelligence. You're insulting my intelligence. You would be saying the same thing if you was the only one, especially if they accused you and played in your face, and then you find out they marrying children. You ain't gonna say nothing. Man, you be out here way more ratchet than me about it, bro. I know that. You be out here way more ratchet. I promise you would. I don't know how you would go about it, but I know you would. I know you would. Online, you be talking about, I don't know how you would go about it, but I know you would. Let's ask the teenagers what they think about American teenagers. What y'all feel about child marriage in America? See, we've been talking to all these old people. Let's talk to the teenagers. How do teenagers feel? How do teenagers feel about America marrying children? How does the teenagers of America feel about that? Yeah, let's ask the teenagers. Because it ain't nothing but these old people that want to protect America, that's a slave to America, that want to get stuff from America, want to get money, food, cash, and everything else from America. See, the older you get in America, the more comfortable you become on relying on these people, and protective you become over this country. And selling your soul is almost second nature when you get older, because you got to depend on these people. You got to depend on them for everything. Unless you have faith and come out and depend on God for everything. So of course it's gonna be these old people want to protect America. Let's ask these young people who ain't even came to that bridge yet, where they don't care if they really live or die. Young people don't really care if they live or die. Let's ask them. They strong as an ox. They ain't worried about their health or nothing, and relying on America for medication or nothing. Listen, let's ask these young people who ain't came to the bridge where they care if they live or not. They ain't even came to that bridge where they care if they live or not. Let's ask them. Let's ask these teenagers, how y'all feel about child marriage laws, marrying children in America? Why they talking about pedophiles? How you feel about that? I'm gonna tell you what teenagers gonna say. Oh no, well, y'all need to have the same energy that y'all got with the prophet with these people marrying children. Teenagers gonna say, no, y'all marrying children, right? Okay, so how you gonna come out here talking about what this man doing? That's the logic. I can show you even your kids, the ones you claim to protect. I can go to them and I get you telling me they ain't gonna form that logic. I guarantee you they will. I guarantee you they're gonna say, how in the world are you gonna come out here on this prophet? But y'all marrying children. Come on, make it make sense, bro. Listen, if you're a real man or a real woman, go ask these teenagers. Go ask these teenagers. If you build like me, where you can confront situations, right? Why don't you go to these teenagers? Go ask these teenagers. You ain't gonna do that, are you? See what I'm talking about, buddy? So you ain't as real as you think you are. Listen, go to these teenagers and ask them how they feel about America marrying children. Ask them how they feel. Ask them how they feel about that. I guarantee you they ain't gonna be like it's all good. I guarantee you they ain't. It ain't nothing but these 30-somethings and older. That part. Listen, ask these people in their 20s and these teenagers, ask them how they feel. They gonna be ready to kill somebody. Man. And the teenager ready to kill somebody. Man. can't believe, man. You tell them, oh, child marriage in America, man. They ready to kill somebody. man. That's when the teenagers ready to kill somebody. Man. man. Hey, that's what they're gonna be saying. man. Look at this, man. Look at this today, man. Man. That mean they ready to kill somebody. Man. Listen, man. All I'm doing is challenging you. Listen, go talk to your own people, man. I'm just keeping it 100 with you. Why you can't do that? You scared to do it, ain't you? All these black folks out here. Won't you go ask your children, your teenage children, won't you go ask them how they feel about y'all marrying children as young as 10 years old in Tennessee? In Tennessee, they were 10. That's 1 and a 0. 10, the youngest children you married in this country recently was 10 years old. That was the girls. The youngest boys was 11 years, a boy was 11 years old. 11. Why you trying to play why they playing psychological games, man? That's why we don't care nothing about that. You marrying children as young as 11 years old. A boy, the youngest boy, married a woman. He was 11. He probably wasn't even ejaculating yet. Most men would tell you, most of us wasn't even ejaculating at 11 years old. What could she do with him? He wasn't even ejaculating. Man, listen, I just keep it 100, bro. The bad part is also, man, as far as adults, half of us cannot even talk on a real man, a real woman, mature basis on sexuality in America. That's why I got this far. Because we ain't really confronted and had the real mature, developed conversations on all these situations and all these different things. That's how they got as far. You know, you barely talk about sex. People blushing and shy. We got to get past it. You got to be mature enough to have these real conversations. People marrying a boy that's young as 11 years old. He probably ain't even ejaculating yet. A woman, she was 27. Go look it up. And by the way, this didn't happen 30 years ago. Whether it was the 10-year-old girls or the 11-year-old boy, it wasn't 35,000 years ago, right? I want you to look up 10-year-old girls got married in the state of Tennessee, and an 11-year-old boy married a 27-year-old woman. 11. And what you talking about again? You talking about pedophiles? Man, stop playing, bro. We don't care nothing about no psychological. If I had a wrong thought, I wouldn't care. You talking to the sensei now. Listen, if I have a wrong thought, I ain't gonna give up. I ain't gonna listen. If you beat me psychologically, I don't care about it. I'ma still be fighting. I'ma still be talking about what you doing in real time, in real life. I ain't gonna care nothing about this. I ain't gonna care nothing about no psychological stuff. Ask me if I care about it. That's how you know I ain't thinking about it. That's 7 hours. Well, if I was thinking about it, would I go that far to talk it that way? Come on, man. Come on, listen, man. Listen. It's one way. It's more than one way to show people who you really are, man. Listen. We know it's all you playing psychological games as Americans. Listen, buddy. Y'all been marrying children as young as 10 years old. You can't even say it was teenagers. Teenagers ain't 10 years old. A boy was young as 11. He was 11. That's not a teenager. That ain't nowhere near a teenager, is it? Man, stop playing, bruh. Stop playing. Get yourself together, America. Won't you get yourself together? Won't you get yourself together? Sitting up here marrying 10-year-old girls and talking about pedophiles, marrying an 11-year-old boy, talking about pedophiles. Oh, go look it up. Go look it up. Listen, I have no conspiracy theories over here. It's all facts, actual and factual. It's receipts. Go look it up. Go Google it. Go Google it. Go Google it, man. You'll see everything you need to see. These people marrying children as young as 11-year-old boy and 10-year-old girls. And now, my conclusional question is this. Where do we go from there? When we find out they marrying children as young as 11-year-old boy and 10-year-old girls. Huh? Where do we go? Oh, we act like it don't exist. We act like that didn't really happen. Well, you looked at me as one case and you act like the whole world happened. You act like the whole world happened. You act like the whole world happened when with one case. So why you can't act like with these these young 10-year-old girls? Why can't you put it in the proper context? Which is, you can't stand up on me or nobody else, and you the one that's having sex with these children. Let's put that in the proper context and narrative. You don't want to put it into the narrative, do you? You don't want to put it into the world views of how we feel about America. See, that's what it is. You don't want to put that into the narrative. Well, it ain't everybody. Laws cover the whole land. That's worse. It would be one thing if I was pointing out some one dude doing this stuff. What's worse, if you don't know, why you talking about it ain't everybody? What's worse is, you got laws to do this. That ain't worse than me saying, oh, okay, well, this guy over here married a 10-year-old girl, or this woman over here married an 11-year-old boy. You know what's worse? Laws to do it. That's worse. You know what's worse than pedophilia? Laws to marry children. Laws to marry children as young as 10 years old and 11 years old. That's worse. Oh, it ain't worse? Marrying children ain't worse? Oh, it's not worse. It's worse. Marrying an 11-year-old boy is worse than some guy fondling a boy in public, right? That's worse than fondling a little girl in public. You know what's worse than that? You taking a woman taking a child home to their homes and marrying a child. That's worse. He has the child 24/7. How that ain't worse? How is it not worse when he takes the child home 24/7? He has the child 24/7. How it ain't worse? When you talking about random stuff and random times and occasions and everything like that, we talking about taking a child home 24/7 in America. How that ain't worse? So my question to you is, what we supposed to do with this information? This is real information, by the way. I know it's hard for you to believe it, but see, this is the last days. Stuff like all that's been done in the dark is coming to the light. All of it. You're going to see more. Watch, you're going to see more shocking stuff. If the Lord tarries, I am convinced that you're going to see people that you thought would never be doing crazy stuff, never done this, never. You're going to see all kind of crazy stuff, man. It ain't even over. It ain't even, listen, can you imagine when this stuff started really hitting the fan about all these people, what they've been doing? Listen, the biggest bombshell is y'all been marrying children. It's already happening. You just didn't esteem this information as exposure of people. That's what it is. Marrying these children, bro? Come on, man. Listen, I ain't never thought about that, man. Check yourself before you try to check me, America. Check yourself. To God's true people, salute. Over and out.